going on, everybody, and welcome back. Let's get an answer to the challenge, shall we?
All the answers you need are in here.
Okay, let's jump right into it. So opening up my Visual Studio Code, you can see my first attempt at this solution. So there's a couple parts here. Let's break it down together. So one of the first requirements was to loop 20 times. So by setting up my for loop from I equals 0 to I is less than 20, we're going to loop 20 times by going from 0 to 19. And then just simply incrementing by I, like we've done in the for loop video before. Now, this is going to handle most of what we need, because now what we can do is simply check to see if I does not equal 12. And if it's not 12, then we simply just do a system.out.print I. Because remember, if I does not equal 12, then we just want to print the value of I. Now, if I does equal 12, that's where this else statement comes into play. So basically what happens is, if this true block is not met, then what we do is we go into the false block, which means I does equal 12 here. So right here, I is equal to 12. And since we know that, then what we can do is simply just do a system.out.println 12, and then we can break, because we no longer need to loop. We know that we're done. So there's definitely a way that you could have solved this with a while loop. Let's go ahead and erase this and do the same thing with a while loop. So here, I'm going to go ahead and tab over. And remember, we want to set up our incrementer before the while loop. So I'm going to say int I is equal to 0. And now we're going to set up the while loop. We'll say while I is less than 20. So we have the basic body of it set up. So now let's go ahead and do our system.out.print like we did before. So we can say system.out.println I. But we do have a problem here if I leave it just like this. Remember to always increment your incrementer in a while loop. So I'm going to go ahead and put I++ down here. Now this is going to print out 0 through 19 for us, but there's still some stuff obviously we have to change to make this work. So another way that we can change this is by making another if statement here, and we can simply do something like this. If I equals 12, then what we're going to want to do inside our true block is do a system.out.println, and then we'll just say 12 as a string. There's one last thing that we should do here, because now that we've actually printed 12, the issue we're going to run into is we're still going to come down and execute here. So our favorite little tool that we have to break out of a loop is break. So this is a potential different solution that we could do. Let's go ahead and open up our command prompt. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my desktop and my Java folder. Let's go ahead and compile with javac challenge1.java. No errors. So let's go ahead and run it with Java challenge1. And you can see we also get 0 through 11, and then we print the word 12 and we exit the loop. So just to show you, neither solution is technically better than the other. This one is slightly more cleaner because I did it with just one single if statement instead of an if else. If you ask me which solution I would prefer to go with a for loop, because we know when we want to end here. But honestly, either solution here is okay. So if you came up with either one of these solutions and it worked, congratulations. If you came up with a different solution than this and it worked, that's perfectly fine as well, and pat yourself on the back for coming up with something different. So that's the end of this challenge. So let's go ahead and kick it to me in the future. That's all for this mini challenge. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a little bit from it, and I hope it tied together some of the concepts that we've been talking about. We're going to have a couple other mini challenges as we go along, so that way you can test your knowledge as you start to learn some of these things. There's definitely a lot of topics that are going to be pretty interesting, which is going to lead to some fun challenges. I'm excited to go through this together with you, and I hope you're excited too. So let's continue learning. Let's continue rocking. Peace out, everybody. I'll catch you in the next one.